All right. Hey guys, Mr. Kyle, Maris Mathematics. Let's just jump into it here. This is Kuta Software, Infinite Algebra 1, using the quadratic formula. So they want us to solve each equation with the quadratic formula. I think I'm still going to look to see if factoring works to double check that the quadratic formula gave us the right answer, because I think that's still pretty smart to do. But we'll do the quadratic formula as well. And before we jump into just number one and number two today, just my thoughts and prayers go out to the people who were affected last Saturday by everything that happened. At the time of me doing this recording, it's July 16th, 2024. So if you don't know, what I'm referring to, you can look it up and come to your own conclusions on everything. But just everybody that was affected by everything, just pray that they're okay, their families are doing well, and yeah, just prayers for them. So number one, we have A is hiding, because in the math world, if you don't see a number, it's probably a 1. Ones are like the ninjas of mathematics. So A is 1. It's good to identify what the letters are. And I'm going to do that for the first few up until we start getting further on in this worksheet. And then I'll probably stop doing that part. But I think just as an intro to all of this, it's important to identify what those numbers are. Because A and B and C are 1, -5, and -14. Because proper form, so to speak, would be like this. It would be ax squared plus bx plus c, right? So they're all pluses in between the x squared, the x, and the number. But these are minuses. So if I was going to write it properly, I would say 1m squared. They're using m's instead of x's, but same thing, right? So I would say 1m squared plus -5m plus -14 equals 0. So that's why the b and c values end up being negatives instead of positives, because it's like -5, but it's like the same thing as plus -5. So that's why you include the sign. If it is a plus, then it would be positive. It's a minus, it would be negative. And then, of course, in front of the m squared or x squared or whatever, if it's got a negative, then it's a negative because there's nothing before that, so it wouldn't be subtraction. Okay, so we have our A, B, and C identified here, and then we put it into the formulae, which is going to be x is equal to -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And there's several different songs for it on YouTube. I kind of sort of still sing the song in my head. You can kind of hear it sometimes if I ever quote the formula. I got it from maybe I'll put this video in the link below, but I think it was, I don't even remember what the guy's name was, but it was like he looks like a math teacher. And he made a video out of it, and it's like actually pretty good. Like, it's a very simple video, and he's just like singing it, but he's like harmonizing with himself, and it's pretty good actually. I think so. Or you can find some other video that you like that's on YouTube for it as well. But it's a long formula, but it's a very, very important one. It gets used a lot, so it's really, really helpful to just know it offhand. X is equal to -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Right, and you might have caught it there too. But I will spare you the agony of singing it to you. We're going to plug it in. So when I plug it in, this part I would say is a suggestion, but this is not like a command. I would suggest that you do b squared minus 4ac off to the side because it's more orderly, but it's not really like a, hey, you got to do it this way to get the right answer kind of thing. So take this next part with a grain of salt. This is kind of just the way I prefer to do it because I feel like it's more organized. I do the b squared minus 4ac part off to the side. Right, so off to the excuse me. Off to the side over here. B is -5 minus 4ac. All right, so I'm going to do this part off to the side. And so that's going to be 25 And then a minus 4 times a 1 would still be a minus 4, right? So it's minus 4 times negative 14. Anytime you times something by 4, you're just doubling it twice. So I'm just going to double this twice. 14 doubled will be 28, and then 28 doubled would be 56. Right? You can also just times it as well. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry a 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Also, minus and minus, that's going to cancel and make a plus. So it's going to be plus. So it's going to be 25 plus 56. What's that going to be? 2 plus 5 is 7. Plus 1 is 8. 5 and 6. There we go. And then the square root of 81 is actually 9. Oh, okay. So that entire part, so I'm going to scroll back up now. That entire part there turns out to be 9. That whole thing, including the square root. So now when I go to plug in the rest of it, x is going to be equal to, or in this case m is equal to negative b, so negative b plus or minus, and then the square root of b squared minus 4ac is just 9. See how much simpler that is than writing out the entire quadratic formula? All over 2a, 2a. So then m is going to be equal to 5 plus or minus 9 over 2. And I can't go any further than that without splitting it up. So at this point, I'm kind of just going to split it up and do the rest of it. So we would have two options here, 5 plus 9 over 2. And 5 plus 9 would be 14. 14 over 2 is 7. Or we would have 5 minus 9 over 2. Well, 5 minus 9 would be the same thing as it's equal to the opposite of 9 minus 5. So if you flip the order, then it changes the answer, because, with plus you can flip the order and nothing changes, but with minus it changes what the answer is. However, with minus, if I flip the order, it makes it always so that it's the opposite number. 5 minus 9, any number minus another number is always the opposite of if you reverse it. So if I just reverse it, it makes more sense, right? 9 minus 5. Oh, that's 4. 9 minus 5 is 4. So then 5 minus 9 would be the opposite of that, which is negative 4. Right? This is just one way to interpret when you're trying to do adding and subtracting of integers, I guess you would call it. If you already have a method that works for you, awesome. If that method makes sense, you're welcome. Just, take it with a grain of salt. And then we get our two answers. If you wanted to plug them in and check them, we can do that. Let's actually do that off to the side a little bit over here. So if we do that, and you can't always factor the normal way, but I think you can on this one, because these numbers are nice whole integers. So we want two things that multiply to 14. 1 times 14 is positive 14. I need a negative, so that would make a negative. That would make negative 13 if I put them together, 1 minus 14. But that doesn't make negative 5. What about the next two? That looks like that would work. 2 minus 7 is negative 5. And 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. Boom, 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 boom. And then take the opposite of 2. So you would set that equal to 0, and then you would subtract 2 on both sides. That's why we take the opposite. And then m would equal negative 2 and positive 7. Oh, hold on. I'm getting 2 and 7. Hold on, what did I do? Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to divide by 2. My bad. I had a blonde moment. That's why I check my work. Because sometimes I just forget to do things, and then I get the wrong. So I'm glad I checked it, because I totally just had the wrong answer there. Lo siento. But that's exactly why I like to check my work, because sometimes I'll just forget to do something, like my little ADHD brain over here. I'll just go off and do something else, and totally forget to finish something out. And I did. I totally forgot to finish that problem. Totally forgot to finish the problem. I was so caught up in trying to teach you guys how to do 5 minus 9 properly that I forgot to divide by 2. That's all right. We caught it. We caught it before we submitted it. It's all good. That's the only thing that matters, right? You can make as many mistakes as you want, as long as you catch them all before you have to turn in the test. So Let's do the quadratic formula again. It's going to be x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So we would do that. So that's going to be a is equal to 1. B is equal to negative 4. It's kind of weird calling that b when b is kind of like the variable, but whatever. C is equal to positive 4. All right? And we're going to do the quadratic formula piece. Let's do the quadratic formula piece up here off to the side. So we would say that negative b, or sorry, positive b, b squared minus 4ac. Right, so then that's 16. And then that's minus 4 times 1 is 4, times 4 is 16, so that's minus 16. Oh, that's 0. That's just 0. Okay, so then b is equal to, now this is a different b. Maybe I'll use a capital. So this is like a capital B. There we go. We're solving for capital B. I don't like that we're using the same letter for two different things. That's a little confusing, I think. Okay, so capital B is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus, and that is 0 all over 2a. Well, actually, this one's a lot easier to do because plus or minus 0 is 0. Like if you add 0, it's still that number, and if you minus 0, it's still that number. So this is literally just 4 over 2, which is 2. So there we go. The answer is 2. And if we want to check it, we can factor it. If we factor b squared minus 4b plus 4, I need factors of 2 that make 4. 2 and 2 times a positive 4. However, they add to positive 4 as well. I need them to add to negative 4. So we would do that. And then now we can see why there's only one answer, because I get the same exact two factors. B minus 2, B minus 2. So if you were to solve either one of those, you'd add 2 to both sides to get rid of the minus 2, and then you get B equals 2. So that is our answer. And there we go, y'all. That's it. That's the video for today. Hope that it's been helpful. And we'll catch you in the next one. If you want extra resources, I have more on my website, Myers Mathematics, like the 5 math mistakes everyone makes and how to avoid them. You can go grab that for free on my website, Myers Mathematics. Link in the description below. See you later, y'all. Blessings.